Hello and welcome to another episode of Northwest Backyard Barbecue. My name is Tim, and today we're going to be making some fresh caught off the Oregon coast sea bass that I caught about 3-4 weeks ago, as a matter of fact. Here is that sea bass right here, and I vacuum sealed it in these bags so that I can put it in the freezer and cook it when I'm ready, and we're ready to do that now. So we're going to make this a little bit later. We're going to bread it and we're going to deep fry it, as well as some Pacific caught oysters. So these oysters here are caught here in the Northwest, and we're going to be cooking those a little bit later as well. So I'm going to also bread these and deep fry these, as well as make some tartar sauce, which we're going to go ahead and make right now, and then we're going to start getting to making that fish and these oysters. Put that away there. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to making the tartar sauce. So down here we've got the ingredients. So in this bowl here we're going to have about 2 cups of mayonnaise, and then we're going to have, these are some spicy dill pickles, which I actually picked up at a local farm here in the Northwest, not too far from my house. So they made these fresh, and I went ahead and cut up about 1.5 of those spicy dill pickles here. If you want to use normal dill pickles, that's fine. It's not going to hurt my feelings. Go ahead and use whatever kind of pickle you want, but we like spicy stuff in our house. We're going to use a spicy dill pickle. Then I've got some capers here. These capers are going to be about 2 tablespoons or so of drained capers. Got a little bit of dill here. Then we're going to put this dill, by the way, is going to be about a teaspoon or so. And then we're going to do about 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard. I use Grey Poupon, a couple dashes of Lee & Perrins Worcestershire sauce, and then we're going to put some salt and pepper in there, as well as some hot sauce here. This is the hot sauce we use. This is a pretty hot one called Ass in the Tub Armageddon. Gotta love the names on these hot sauces. I've got a collection of them, but this is one of my favorites here. I'm going to do a juice of probably about a half a lemon, maybe a little bit more. And then also too, one thing that I don't have on here is green onion. I like to put green onion in here, but I didn't have any green onion on hand, so I might add that a little bit later. But if you do put green onion, for 2 cups of mayonnaise, I'd probably put about 4 stalks of green onions for the individual green onions. So let's go ahead and get to putting these ingredients together. So first we're going to have the dill pickle, the hot spicy dill pickle. Stick that in there. Going to have the capers. Put those in there as well, just like that. A little fresh dill. Now dill's a pretty strong spice, so if you don't like dill, you can use tarragon. You could use parsley. So you can put whatever in there you like, but we do like a little bit of dill in there. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to put about 2 teaspoons of some Dijon here. Let's go and boom, just like that. And once you have this, you're not going to go back to the store and buy stuff on the shelf, which is, it's okay in a pinch, I guess, but you never really know what's in there, and there's usually a huge long list. There's not really that big of a list of chemicals. You know exactly what's in it, which is kind of the way we like to do it. So, and then the Lee & Perrins here, going to get a few dashes of that in there, about like that. If you're going to measure, I'd say probably a teaspoon or so. There you go. And then the hot sauce. So I'll probably add more hot sauce to my little portion. My family does like it spicy, but not quite as spicy as me. And this is really hot, so you're only going to need a few drops. So again, make it as spicy as you want. Some people don't want any spice. That's fine. Like I said, if you don't want any spice, don't put the spicy dill pickles in there. Just put regular ones, or you can put relish in there too. And then we're going to squeeze in this lemon, and the lemon's going to be about for 2 cups, you're probably about 3 to 4 teaspoons. This is a pretty small lemon, so I'm probably going to put some of the other half in there as well. A big lemon, you'd probably use about half, but this one is kind of small, so let's put about that much there. That's probably good. Okay, mix that together like that. And I'm also going to add a little bit of pepper. See what that's mixing up like. And then I'm also going to add some salt. Now, but my salt's going to be different. So I'm not going to, sometimes I'll add just some sea salt in there, but I like to add this here, which isn't the container it comes in, but this is Everglades Seasoning. Great company. As a matter of fact, we're going to use the Everglades breading when we do the fish and oysters here in a little bit. But this is an excellent seasoning, goes good with just about everything. And so I'm going to use this as my salt. It gives it a unique flavor and kind of kicks it up a little bit. So we're going to use a little bit of that there. And we're going to do some fresh ground pepper. Just like that. Okay, mix that all together. Now, when you make some stuff like that, any kind of sauce you make, generally with sauces, you're going to want them to sit at least for a couple hours, preferably overnight. Let all those flavors kind of meld together. And even something like this, you might even put in there to keep, 2 days ahead of time. And then it really mixes all those flavors together. All right, let's give it a taste. Perfect. That's great. So, all right, so we've got the tartar sauce made. I'm going to go and put this in the refrigerator. I'll be back with you here in just a few seconds to, well, for you it'll be a few seconds, for me it'll be a little longer, but we're going to get that fish out, get those oysters out, get our buttermilk out, get all of our breading out, and we're going to fry up some sea bass and some small Pacific Northwest oysters. Be back with you in a minute. Thank you. Okay, so I'm back, and now we're going to get to deep frying. Well, first we're going to bread this sea bass and a couple of the oysters. So I've got a couple fillets here. I'm going to actually do probably about 5 total fillets, but I figured I'd only show you a couple. Once I do a couple of them, you'll see it's pretty simple to do, and as well as a couple of the Oregon Northwest oysters here too. So I'll do 2 oysters and 2 fillets, and what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut these fish fillets in half just to make them a little more manageable to fry. So let's go ahead and do that here. As a matter of fact, you know what? I think I'm going to cut them in thirds. So I'm going to go ahead and slice one there. Try not to cut through that foil there. There's one there. And as a matter of fact, I'll probably just go ahead and bring this over to the cutting board. Make it a little bit easier. There we go there. And again, these are fresh caught sea bass fillets that I did catch about a month ago or so on a dory boat off the Oregon coast. To be exact, it was out of Pacific City, Oregon coast, which is up kind of by Lincoln City, Oregon. And then here we're going to have a couple of the oysters. So this is a pretty simple process. All we're going to do is we're going to dip the, well, there you go. See, when you got something live here, you've got a wasp you got to get rid of. So there you go. That's proof that we're really cooking. How many people can say they got a wasp in the buttermilk? A show that's all spliced together, you're not going to get something real like that. So we got rid of the wasp. Now let's go ahead and get to cooking these fish. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and take and put the fish in the buttermilk. And you can let these soak in here for a little while, which probably be best, but for the sake of time here, we're going to go ahead and just do a little quick version in here. And just kind of dip them in there and then go ahead and put them in the crumbs. Now, the breading that we're using here is Everglades. And Everglades is a company out of Florida. As I said earlier, I used some of the Everglades Seasoning in the tartar sauce that I used, which I like to use sometimes in place of salt. It's an excellent seasoning. You need to check out that seasoning, but they also sell other products too. One of those being the Everglades, see if you can see that there, Everglades all-purpose breader, and it's a seasoned breader, so you don't have to add anything to it. It's got excellent flavor. I mean, if you don't have this and you want to go ahead and make it yourself, you can always use flour, cornmeal, and you add your salt and pepper and garlic salt, or any other types of spices you might want to add. But this here is simple, easy, inexpensive, and we really like the flavor of it. So that's what we're using today. So Everglades pre-seasoned all-purpose breader. Okay, so on to this step here. We're going to go ahead and take this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and dip this in this buttermilk, but then when we put it in here, we're going to use a wet hand and then a dry hand so you don't get all clumped up there. And we're going to let that kind of set on there while the oil's heating, so the breading stays on there and doesn't fall off. Nothing worse than breading your food and then you go to cook it and the breading falls off, or when you get it out and you try to cut it, the breading falls off. So if you let it set for a while, it'll set up and you won't have to worry about that happening. And that's what we're going to do here. So, and then when we fry this, which I'll show you here in just a little bit, as soon as we get done doing this step, I'm going to use my 3-basket Cajun fryer, which is an outdoor fryer, which is where I'm at now, obviously in my backyard, and it runs off of propane. It's a great fryer. If you're looking to get a fryer, they have single basket, double basket, triple basket, and I think they even have bigger ones than that. But if you need bigger than a triple basket for your house, then maybe you should just open a restaurant. Okay, so here we go here. We're getting done here. So, all right, so I think you got the idea on the fish. I'll finish getting these other two, but let me get these oysters in here. Same thing, I'm just gonna put the oysters in the buttermilk. And we're gonna go ahead and toss those around in there. Put those in the breading. Same thing. Again, wet hand, dry hand. Okay. There we go. Set those on there. Perfect. Okay. So that's it. So I'm going to finish this fish here, and then I'm going to finish the other fillets I have as well. And I'll be back with you once I'm done getting those all buttermilked, breaded, and laid out so we can put them in the fryer, and show you how we put it all together with the tartar sauce we made, with the fried Oregon sea bass, as well as the fried Northwest oysters. So we'll see you in just a minute. Get everything set up. Let these set in the refrigerator for about 15 minutes to 20 minutes. Let the breading set up on there while the oil is heating up in the fryer, and we'll get everything all put together. We'll see you here in just a little bit. Okay, here we are back at the 3-basket Cajun fryer. I'm going to go ahead and fry the Oregon sea bass and the oysters. I got a small batch here. I've got another batch to do that I'll do off camera, but show you how this turns out, and then after we're done with all this, we'll do a taste test, like I said, with the tartar sauce. So let's go ahead and get started here. So I'm running at about 350, 365. That's kind of where you want to be. I've turned this down quite a bit because it's kind of loud, but with the oil at the temperature it's at, with the little bit that we're frying, temperature should not drop very much at all. So here we go. So let's drop in the fish first. And again, we're going to just fry it till it's golden brown. That's what we're looking for. Which will not take very long at all. And now for the oysters. And I will put links to all the breading in there, as well as the Everglades Seasoning. So I'll put a link to their website so you can order that. And I'll put a few oysters in this basket here too. There. Perfect. Okay. All right. Okay, so got this one here. It's just about done. And that's only, what was that, maybe a minute and a half to 2 minutes? Not very long. I don't like my fish overdone, so I would rather be on the underdone side as opposed to the overdone side. And by the way, before I got started here, I had to fight off more of those wasps. So I won this round, but you know, I don't know. Those wasps sometimes can get pretty nasty. I'm sure they're getting ready to gang up on me, so I'm gonna get this done, get inside, and get away. Maybe they'll forget about me dispatching a few of their friends. Okay, so there we go. Those ones are done. And two, as soon as the fish starts to float, as this one here you'll see, that's an indicator that it's done as well. What the rule of thumb is once it starts floating, generally another 30 seconds to a minute, somewhere in that area. And the oysters are done as well. And there we go. Perfect. So now, move this out of the way. And we will put these on our rack. Now there is a big debate going on as to whether you put your fried food on paper towels or whether you put them on a rack. I don't really care. I do whatever's easiest, what I think is going to work best for what I'm cooking. Today we're putting them on a rack with a paper towel lined cookie sheet. So we just pull them out of here. Oh, those are going to be good. I can guarantee you that. Get those pulled out. Okay, so those, a couple of oysters out of here too. All right, let me give you a close-up of that, and then we'll go ahead and finish pulling these out, and then we'll come back and do a taste test. So there's what we look like right out of the fryer. And let me get the rest of these pulled out. We'll be right back with you, and we'll try a taste test. Okay, so here we go. We've got the fried oyster and fresh caught Oregon sea bass homemade tartar sauce ready to take a taste. Here's what it looks like. Sorry I don't have all the accoutrement with it. We're going to go ahead and plate that up later, but it's going to go ahead and do a taste test so you can see what I think of it, and then hopefully you try this out and you enjoy it. So let's go ahead and give it a shot. Let's try the oyster first. I'm going to go ahead and just use my fingers. Again, we're in a backyard. This isn't a chef show. This is just a guy cooking in his backyard. So we eat with fingers sometimes. There we go. Let's give this oyster a try. Wow. That tartar sauce, I'm telling you, tartar sauce sets it off. That's really good. I mean, I tell you, you can fry just about anything. I could have fried one of those wasps, dumped it in this tartar sauce, and I bet it would have been good. But I don't think I'll do that. But look at that fish. Look at how juicy that fish is. Still nice and juicy, nice and crisp on the outside. Put some of that tartar sauce on there. See how that tastes. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I gotta get another bite of that. That's really good. Nothing like fresh caught fish. It's just, you just can't beat it. Unbelievable. So I'm gonna go ahead and call this a wrap, a huge success. I'm gonna go ahead and bring this into my family, dish it up with everything else we made inside. And of course we have some vegetables. You gotta have vegetables with anything, but especially when you're eating fried food. Fried food is probably not the best thing to eat. You don't wanna eat it every day, but when you do it, and if you do fish, you do oysters, do it this way. Hope you enjoy it. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, and we look forward to seeing you next time, the next edition of Northwest Backyard Barbecue. See you next time. Bye.